Welcome back to Dropped Frames. Going to the second half of this show. We're talking Tiny Tina's. We're talking Stranger of Paradise. We're talking Zeke's 100-month sub club as well. I'm excited to see Jump King, huh? You're playing some Jump King?
Yeah, dude.
Okay.
Beat
All right.
that shit.
Oh, okay. You beat it. Oh, okay. We'll get to that. Co, where do you want to start? What should we do? You, because funny enough, you quit Stranger of Paradise. I quit Borderlands or Wonderlands or whatever. Why don't we start? Let's go chronologically. Let's start with Stranger of Paradise.
Sure.
What happened?
Okay. So I did a sponsor stream of Stranger of Paradise,
Okay.
and I liked the gameplay. Gameplay was good. I liked the quick switching. I liked the character customization. I thought that was good.
Uh-huh.
However, the rest of the game really was not doing it for me. The dialogue
Go
and
on.
stuff, like the first time I went to a city and it's like you can talk to NPCs, and I was like, oh cool, let's see what they're doing. And it was like a list, and I was like, oh okay, well this is interesting. So let's see what they have to say. And they were all the most benign, like worthless one-liners. Man, the caves can be dangerous. You may want to be careful when you go out there. Okay, thanks, guy. What's the old man have to say? "Ooh, hey, remember the caves might be dangerous, youngin." Okay, what about you, small girl?
Uh-huh.
Hey, the caves are kind of dangerous. You might want to be careful. And it's like, are you kidding? Like what is? Okay, thanks, I guess. And this is my NPC experience. Then the dialogue was weird. The pacing was weird. The levels literally felt like they were out of Final Fantasy One.
Real quick. Your kids are very lucky if you read them bedtime stories, because that was awesome. Just wanted to
Well, thank you, thank you. But no, it's just the game felt incredibly simplistic from the really tropey, generic, boring story that was like, "Oh, you're the warriors of light. Your crystals are dark, and you must undarken them." Like, okay. And then like the character introduction was super weird, and then the levels were basically just like rectangles jammed together, like large open rooms with not much interesting in them. Like sometimes one chest at the end of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just the gameplay was really cool. It was Team Ninja, and it felt good. That was the part that got me playing as long as I did. But the thing here was the combination for me. The fact that I was not enjoying the rest of the game got me close, and then the fact that Square Enix told me I can't stream
Can't
the end
stream
of the
the end
game
of it.
without
Yeah.
even telling me where the ending started or what they didn't have or no screenshots.
Yep.
That's what kicked it over for me. I was like, you know what? I will have a better time streaming other things, and I don't need to play this. I like there was nothing that made me go, I need to finish this experience. I
Yeah.
would just rather play something.
Yeah.
So,
I'm
yeah.
Once again in 100% agreement with you. I will go as far to say as this is a bad game, but it's such a bad game that it turns into a good game.
Ooh. Oh,
because,
go on.
because you can mock the shit out of this game the entire time, and it gets even like you thought the dialogue was bad in the first 2 hours. You haven't seen anything yet. It's like Mystery Science Theater took they like took the script from some of the films that they watched back in the day, because it is abysmal. It is so bad, but it's so funny. If you treat the game in that way, that's what I did. The gameplay was enough for me to like enjoy the second to second element of that. And then the story was like the icing on the cake for me. Like I would be excited to get to the cutscene stuff because they were so absolutely fucking absurd. They were it. This is one thing where I will not spoil the stuff of it, because the stuff that happens in this game is so unbelievably random.
I
It's
was
hilarious.
told specifically by multiple people, you didn't get to the good part. That's what I kept getting. You didn't get to the good part.
I'm curious what
And
that
I was
is,
like,
because it doesn't get good. It gets funny because they're trying so serious to be like, this is serious.
one person
This is chaos. No, it's not. You're stupid. Shut the fuck up.
One person specifically said I didn't get to the twist. I don't know what that means. Oh, come on!
Okay.
Don't give me that face after.
No. I mean, I know what that is, but like, yeah, you
twist?
didn't finish the game, right?
Okay.
Like,
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Now-
Oh man.
Okay, are they trying to
No.
sell it as serious?
Yes.
Or as
Yes.
like,
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
that's what pushed me away is because they clearly are trying to be serious,
yes.
and it
No
comes off
fucking
as
way.
tropey
Really?
and
Yes,
terrible.
that's
Oh, yeah.
why
No,
it's so
absolutely.
great, dude. Like
Yeah.
the entire
Yeah.
game is like dead serious. But
Wow.
then you have the main character just like saying the F word multiple times. And you're just what the
Dude, my still. I think
what the
for the
hell?
reason you're talking about, excuse me, it might be my favorite thing in any video game
Yeah.
where it's like, I want to help. Bullshit. Walk away with the headphones on. I was just like,
He's playing you know that's Limp Bizkit. Did you see the iPad? He's
oh
playing
god,
Limp
yeah.
Bizkit on his
Dude,
iPad when
I
he
know.
walks away.
I know.
His
I
iPod.
know. It's
oh,
just
then they're aware.
amazing.
They're aware of the joke. Then they're
No,
they're not.
no, trust me.
Well,
No.
they might
You're
be,
playing
but they
Limp Bizkit.
lean into it then. It's fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating.
And okay, here's the thing. If they mean to, then they never break character.
Yes.
If they actually mean for this game to be like there's no subtle looks at the cameras and nods. You know what I mean? Like there's no hint to the player that they are being less than serious. It seems like with that turnaround and it seems like they're doing their hardest to be like, yeah, this guy's totally badass.
Yeah.
This guy's like he is like the shit that the shit takes. He's
Yeah.
that much of the shit.
It's real silly.
Oh, man.
It's-
Ooh, yeah.
This game, more than really any other game I've played that I can recall, just like out of nowhere had me crying from laughter because of how absurd it is. In terms, some of the cutscenes are just like, you start to think like, what the fuck? Like, what is happening? Why did this go from why did it go from A all the way to Z in like the span of 5 seconds? What the fuck happened in this writing room that was the direction they decided to take it? It's crazy. You mentioned Cyberpunk in terms of looking like a clown. One of the ways, so you go to to talk about the game a little bit and less of the story. When you go into the inventory section, you can hit on the PS5, you can just hit the main pad and it'll just optimize and equip all the highest level gear that you have. And it's not necessarily the best gear, it's just the highest level gear that you have. So essentially, if you fight a lot, every single time you go to the inventory screen, we're talking like hundreds of pieces of gear each time. You just automatically optimize it all. In doing so, your character is constantly changing its look, and it ranges from like a decent looking knight to just like a complete fucking clown character that just like none of the colors match. None of the weapons that you're using look cool. Just looks completely bananas.
So it's not like they don't like another Final or other RPGs. It's like sets.
There are sets.
Sets.
Yeah, there are. There are. It's like Neo. It's essentially a lot of this game is essentially a skinned Neo.
Dude,
it's a
you
reskinned
switched
Neo.
the red stuff for Amrita.
Yeah.
And like I'm pretty sure they just used the same coding for Amrita.
Yeah, you can
For
get a
all of
fedora.
the, like red.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things is when you're wearing full plate armor and then you're wearing a fedora, and he wears that during cutscenes. You're just walking around with like a fedora.
I mean, listen.
You're like, okay.
Playing the Elden Ring for as long as I have recently, like that's the way that is. It's like you get this full awesome badass suit of armor, and then you have a big fucking like mushroom head or some shit like that doesn't match the rest of the outfit because the head has all the effect on it.
Right.
Ashen Souls is a thing, man.
That's true.
Just saying.
That's true.
I would frequently take a stat hit.
Yeah.
To look good.
Yeah.
I think we all do.
Yeah, I think we do. I constantly found myself throughout the entirety of this game saying, I don't know how this game got made. Because it is, for all intents and purposes, it is Neo 2, but with a Final Fantasy like skin on it. Like there's just entire things ripped from that game that exist in here with like, oh, now that's like this is a Tonberry creature here. This is a Tonberry. Or like Co said, this is what do they call it in this? It's Amrita and Neo, but in this
Oh,
it's gold or
chaos crystals? I
chaos
don't
crystals.
know.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know. It's crazy that I don't understand how this game got made.
What's
And
weird though is like, and I talked about this a lot when I was talking about why I was leaving it. It seems like they took a lot of good stuff from Neo, and like the combat system is good and stuff. But then so many parts of this game seem like such a step back from Neo,
yeah,
especially Neo 2. Like Neo 2's level design was pretty great, like going in the buildings and like, like working your way through a forest, and then you get to like the side of a village and you go over a wall, and then you're working through buildings and going through castles and stuff. Like, it was really cool. And then it's here, we're back to like blocks, just giant blocks, which they just try to add the tiniest flavor between things, and huge open areas. Don't get me wrong, Neo 2 had some of that, but not nearly to the degree of this game.
yeah,
The cutscenes and the pacing and the voice acting, like I could barely follow the Neo 2 story, like with all the crazy shit that was going on, all the names they were using, but it was still light years ahead of where the storytelling is in this game. And this is like their next project.
yeah,
So it's very weird. Is the combat as good as Neo 2? No. I still very much like Neo 2 had all of its own systems. Neo
yeah.
2 was
It's different.
something really special.
They
This is like Team Ninja taking what they're good at and then kind of jamming it in a Final Fantasy thing with
yeah,
jobs, and like
and
it's very different. It's very
and
different.
I felt
But
like in a lot of ways when I'm playing this game, I could see the conversations that took place in a boardroom because of the changes that were made to this, such as, guys, Neo is a really hard game, but we want to get a Final Fantasy game that feels like Neo. So how can we make that easier and more approachable for players? Well, you're going to get two people that are with you at all times. Okay, I mean and then they just keep adding
but
elements.
you're gonna be a team of 4, but
Yes.
you only get to play with 2 of them at a time.
It goes up to
'cause
5.
that
It goes up to 5, which makes even less sense because then you start to think about the Final Fantasy 1 story and you're like, well, that's the
Oh,
four warrior.
God.
Anyways, yeah. There's just a lot of things where I don't know how this game got made. I really, really don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're really selling me on this. Okay, you're doing. I'm almost in.
Okay.
How long?
That's a good question.
No,
You could
neither of you finished.
No, I finished it, but I don't know how
Oh.
long it was. How long was it? Maybe
Time, like,
17
I feel like
hours.
I feel like you came out of a
I'm in
bush
a
with
weird
leaves in your
world.
hair. I know. I lost all track of time during it. I don't. What day is it?
I want to say like
Came
17
back
hours.
looking like the aliens guy. Like, I just got done with the game, dude.
I think it took me like 15 to 17 hours off the top of my head. You can put the game, so difficulty wise, no matter what, don't play this game on hard. The way that they
That's what I was playing on.
it towards the end game, and then you kind of get a little bit. I started on hard, and I was perfectly fine, even though a lot of the stuff is very one-shotty. Like you get just straight up one shot by mobs. Towards the end of that game, that's amplified to where like these type of encounters aren't that bad, but when you get to the bosses, they flat out you get I got very raged because like in Neo or even Elden Ring, probably why I was of this mindset. In Elden Ring, when you die, it's like, okay, that was my fault, right? Like that
Yeah.
I did X or Y wrong. That's why I died most of the time. In this game, it always felt like you're fighting like the game and not yourself in terms of like how bad something is happening. They just have like things where you get hit once and then you get locked and then they just one shot you. You like lose your
Oh,
stamina
okay.
and then you just get one shot right afterwards. It's like, well, yeah,
So
maybe you shouldn't
it's
get locked, but it's also like it's frustrating.
like you get the feeling that the game was like, nah, you're gonna die now and start over.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
it just decides that you die and you got to go back.
yeah, yeah. And
Got to a
it's
horse
very
boss.
frustrating.
Definitely took me a few
Hate
tries
them.
on hard.
Oh
I,
yeah,
like
the first part,
I didn't
yes.
get to the I didn't know the mechanics, and I was just like getting trampled essentially because I was not doing it properly, and then
Yep. Yeah.
was very much kind of working through that.
Yeah. So Zeke, I think if you put it on easy, you could probably knock through the main story stuff in like 10 to 12 hours.
Okay.
There's the way they handle side stuff in this game. is it's just this. It's essentially the same level that you played through, but in reverse. Like 99% of the side stuff is just reverse. And
Work for Castlevania, right?
yeah, there's story elements that you can find in that. And in a weird way, there's some of the more important aspects of the story, but it's all done through text. They're like text logs that you find that tell you a little bit about why what's happening before it's like revealed what's actually happening in the main story. And so that stuff exists, which is a little strange.
Okay.
So I did half of the side content, and then towards the end, I was so interested in where they were going to go with the story because, like Ko said, another big thing, you can't stream the ending of this game. Square's not specific on what that actually means. They just said you can't stream the ending of this
They
game.
literally say like you can't stream anything preceding like the ending, or fin. And it's like we can't stream anything preceding that?
Yeah.
So what is that? Everything to the beginning?
Yeah.
Like what like there's no point at which it says like what constitutes preceding.
Yeah.
So it's like at any point without them telling us that, they could just step in and just decide what preceding means, and then all of a sudden like strike you with a DMCA or something.
Yeah.
Like holy shit, man.
So I didn't
like,
stream the ending. Luckily, I had Mr. Happy in my chat, who's kind of a he's a Final Fantasy 14 streamer mainly, but he also plays everything Square Enix related. And he's pretty clued in with the community managers and whatnot of the games. And so the entire time I'm like working my way through the end, I'm like, all right, is this the cut? Is this the cutscene? No. Is this is it? Okay. And then I just turned it over and muted it. And I read what was happening in front of me, which is exactly what he did. And having done that, I don't know why they did that. It's completely fucking pointless why they did that. It makes no fucking sense why they did that, but that's what they decided to do for this. Funny enough, they also decided to do that for the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters of like Final Fantasy VI, a 30-year-old game. You can't stream the ending of that.
They also do it for Triangle Strategy. Is that them?
That is Square. I don't know if you can stream the ending of that though.
'Cause I was considering trying that game in the next couple months.
Did they
That is
change the ending? or
definitely
something?
going to be a factor.
I
if
don't
that's
know.
The case.
Yeah, I don't know, Ko. I'm not sure if
Well-
that's in Triangle Strategy.
Yeah,
I'm just
here's the
gonna
line
say-
for those that were saying it in chat. Do not live stream, post videos, or post anything from the ending of the game, including, without limitation, the content following the final battle up until the end, to be continued, fin, or similar messaging is displayed.
Yeah.
That's one of the multiple stipulations.
And
that
the
you fall
weird
under.
thing was, Ko, is I got they reached out and was like, hey, do you want to code for this? Blah 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 early. And I saw that stipulation within the embargo, and I was like, well, I'm not gonna agree to that. Sorry. Can they change this? And we had a back and forth, and ultimately no. And so I thought it was just if I agreed to the early access to it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Then it came out when you tweeted that, and I was like, wait a minute, this is for the entirety of the game. It's not just for
I
early
had that
access.
exact same conversation with my connection at Square Enix, except I
Yeah.
took it a step further. I was like, so just to be 100% clear, like when the review process is done, I can just play the ending, right? And she was like, okay, let me check with Square Enix. And then she comes back and she was like, the language I was given was essentially, this is the guidelines for streaming this
That's
game moving
wild.
forward. And I was like, so it has nothing to do with the review copy. Like after this date, these are the guidelines. And that's when she linked me the page that I went public with. And she was like, these are the guidelines for streaming this game, period.
That's wild.
Like, that's it. These are the guidelines.
That makes me nervous
Yeah.
for like Final Fantasy 7 Remake 2 and Final Fantasy 16, like if they're going to pull the same shit.
Now here's the thing. Tons of people streamed the entire ending.
Yes.
It is on
A
YouTube
ton.
right now.
Yes.
They are not doing
They're
a
not doing
single
anything.
thing about it. Nothing is being done. So in other words, that's almost an even shittier move, because that
Yeah.
means they're just like sitting on this.
Yep.
And that means that they could just sit on this for multiple releases, and then one day an exec gets up on the wrong side of the bed and is like, you know what? I think we're gonna do that. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna push, action on all those messages we've been telling them over these last 10 years. And then all of a sudden everyone gets like 50 DMCAs for their content. And like that's the problem with this, is we have no clue how they're going to actually do if they're ever going to do something about it. It's just like scary legal talk
It,
that they have.
it sounds like a paper
So,
tiger
yeah.
to me.
It's still the same thing Atlas did. It's exactly what Atlas did with Persona. Yeah, you're 100% right. It's just
Well,
weird.
I mean, I don't want to tempt it because
Same. That's why I didn't show
I
it.
don't have a good I don't have a good track record with Twitch and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just kidding. I have one ding, but yeah. If I can't, if I feel uncomfortable streaming the ending, I won't play it.
Yeah. Well,
Now,
You
okay.
can or whatever.
yeah.
I see a lot of people in chat saying, "Why are you even streaming the game then? Just don't stream the game. Boycott streaming Square Enix." This goes back to what we were talking about earlier in the channel. About
Taxes.
sometimes you just have it. No, this goes back to what we were talking about earlier, where it's like that is a factor to consider when streaming a game, but it is not a binary on-off switch.
Right.
Like when if you decide, like, this is Team Ninja, for instance. Like if you just say, okay, Square Enix doesn't want me showing the end, so I'm going to potentially screw Team Ninja by not showing anything about this game and not broadcasting it. If I really liked this game, if I was having a good time with this game, then it still would have been a big negative hit for me that Square Enix is trying to pull that. But I probably would have streamed up until the point. I probably would have done exactly what JP did. I probably would have just like narrated the ending or gone up to the point that I did and then figured out a way to, tell you to go watch someone's video who did take the risk or something like that. Like I would have figured it out. But that's the whole thing. Like just because Square Enix is trying to pull some weird stuff doesn't mean, boycott Square Enix, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 14, never again. That's not how you fix something like this. It's not going to make them take any of this language out. If every single content creator stopped doing Square Enix over this kind of stuff, honestly, they probably wouldn't care. I mean, it's pretty clear they're so disconnected from this stuff anyway.
Yeah.
Like
I agree.
they wouldn't care.
Yeah.
So that's not really how that works.
Yep. I agree with that.
Just like everything else, it's something to consider. It's not a switch to be flipped.
Yep. Yeah, and you pretty much hit the nail on the head there. Like the combat in this game, I was having so much fun with it. There's 27 classes to kind of grind your way through. And those go from like advanced classes and like expert classes where you have to have 2 to 3 classes prior to that to unlock it. I found like some crazy combos. There's some like advanced or expert class of a thief, which is a really fast attacking class. And then if you use a sage, which is like one of the higher tier mage classes, you can cast haste on yourself and you can have 2 classes equipped at all times. So you can haste yourself, go thief, and then you're attacking, like you can basically just animation lock a mob just by spamming attack. And that was just super fun to like break the different systems in the game. Magic is kind of broken in this. You can cast Ultima if you play a certain class and it just destroys everything, just like an Ultima spell does in general in Final Fantasy. So I had a lot of fun with that. Towards the end, it started to get a little bit much, a little bit samey, but I wanted to see this ending that Square Enix didn't want anyone to see. And then it ended up just being like the stupidest it was I overhyped how silly it was going to be. Like that they didn't want this major revelation shared. And then it was just like, whatever.
Also, I got 2 more things I want to throw in here before we move.
Okay.
First of all, a lot of I'm seeing some people in chat saying, well, you're still playing the game and you're promoting Square Enix and you're giving them money, even though they're including that terrible thing. Well, honestly, I think a lot of people thought this game was going to be a lot better than it was. And seeing the game and in the state that it's in, I guarantee you that influenced people not to buy the game. I'm sure some people probably did, but I would think in a case like this, there's a strong chance that did not work in their favor. And second of all, and this is the big thing that I really want to push here, that really just talks about how dated this is. This is a big conversation we have in the channel. Like, to think that video games these days are only experienced by the people who play them it's pedantic, it's dated, and frankly, it's almost insultingly ignorant in their own medium. I mean, there are literally double-digit portions of the people who are going to experience these games that are never going to play it. There are people that have disabilities. There are people that do not have the time. There are office workers, parents that never will have the time to play games like this. So by putting in language like you can never show the ending, you're literally saying those people do not get to enjoy this product. Period. We prefer in our mind to not have them ever see the ending. If it was our choice, this ending would never be public unless you buy and play the game. And if you are not in a place where you can do that, well, screw you. And it's like that is such a backwards ass way to view gaming these days.
It
And
is,
especially
yeah.
like in the last 2 decades with the rise of streaming, with the rise of YouTube. Like there are millions and millions of people that experience games that just don't play them. There's people that like watching games that don't even like playing games. They're not gamers. They just like watching people play them like they do television. So it's the idea that they would put that language is just shows such an insane disconnect from the reality of the products they're making and they're licensing and they're creating and distributing. It's insane. It's insane. It harkens back to the DMCA stuff where it's like those people just have no idea what they're doing with the languages like in today's day and age. It's so dated and archaic. It's exactly what seeing this language feels like.
Yep. I'm, in a lot of ways, it's like that's Japanese game development, right? Like Nintendo sucks at the internet for a reason. Like a lot of stuff over there is just archaic and stuck in their ways.
I Granted, I wouldn't boil it down to a particular nationality or group even. Like we see this kind of stuff all the time. This is just the latest example. Like and I do agree. Very similar how America is stuck with their DMCA stuff. There's lots of
True.
examples of how Japanese gaming companies are also stuck in a lot of dated and older things. But
Yeah.
it happens all the time, unfortunately. This type of not really catering to all people and not letting them all enjoy it. How they want to enjoy it, most important.
Yeah.
So
Oh, and also there's the like international laws factor. Like holy shit, like trying to navigate through that shit is a fucking nightmare.
Yeah. Like a
one
global
law
release
one
thing.
law there. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
we'll just file it under room to improve.
Yes. Yes.
Room to improve.
Which, hey, I'd say that's I great way to discuss this game as well. There's room to improve. The every I got asked. I was one of the kind of this. There wasn't necessarily a giant streaming audience for this game, and so I frequently sat on top of the directory, and so we had a lot of brand new viewers come by, and they were always asking like, "Hey, how's the game? How's it doing?" Blah blah blah. My response every single time was like, "This is one of the greatest B movie games I've ever played." Because it's not a good game, but it circles back around at being so bad that it becomes good, just kind of like a B movie does.
Someone dropped it. I'm glad that you changed that because someone dropped it on my channel and said like, JP said that this game is Elden Ring to Star Wars as Strangers of Paradise is to Spaceballs.
Yes,
and my
100%.
immediate reaction was, but Spaceballs is trying to be funny. Like that, there's a big disconnect because Spaceballs wants to be funny. So it's like true. This is a sadder, not quite.
I just fucking played Michigan Report from Hell.
Yeah.
Now,
is that a B movie game?
We can talk about like we'll probably I want to talk about it, but like it. You ever seen the scenes from like Resident Evil 1? Like the old Resident Evil 1? Like you just almost became a Jill sandwich.
Uh-huh.
Like this Michigan Report from Hell shits all over it as far as like how far they take the lines, the line readings, the translation. Like it's just like it's like looking at a masterpiece painting and just being in awe because you don't know how they could possibly have done all this in one particular painting or game.
Is this an older game?
Yeah, it's from 2004.
Okay.
It's for PS2. It was difficult to, I mean, I had to get it, like, I don't know if it was ever released in the States. I bought the game. Oops, shit. God damn it. I bought the game and I emulated it because it's only in Japanese. Like, the only copy I could find was a Japanese copy. And I don't have, I didn't want to go through the hassle of, making that run on the actual console. So, just, full disclosure, I have all of the equipment that I could do.
Japan's not watching this, Zeke.
Why would it be a nightmare to get it going? So I went the easy route and emulate. Are we going on? Are we just
let's
move
talk
on?
about it. I got it up. Okay. I don't have anything else to say on Strangers Paradise, so that's why.
Yeah.
I'm done.
You want B movie.
Is
You
this the
want
true B
bad
movie?
translation. You want incorrect like emotions at extremely inappropriate times. You want volume changes in voice when they're standing right next to each other. Like, man, this game has got it all. It is fucking bonkers. Let me see. Do I have the?
Is this supposed to be like a Resident Evil like dollar store version?
It's like
What are we looking
it's
at?
sort of like Resident Evil, Silent Hill, and Fatal Frame. It takes pieces from all of those kind of games and connects them with like silly putty and string cheese and like, you know, a hammer. I don't know. Like
Okay.
just pick an absurd item. But yeah, so yeah, this is the game. Michigan Report from Hell.
Nice.
Now you might think,
Oh, is that in Japanese?
Well,
The subtitle?
yes. Mhm.
Cool.
This is all in Japanese.
Oh, nice.
You might think that the game, first of all, takes place in Michigan. It does not. It takes place in Chicago. Chicago and Michigan, you might ask. It is not. However, they do justify it by saying that it's on Lake Michigan. So that's where the Michigan and Michigan Report from Hell comes from. Lake Michigan. Which is something they don't really tell you right out the gate.
I love that.
So, yeah, you find out kind of later on in the game, like, oh, okay, that's why it's referencing Lake Michigan. There is a one line of dialogue reason
Okay.
why like Lake Michigan is Michigan Report From Hell, whatever. Anyway, so you play a reporter, or excuse me, you play a cameraman who is following around reporters. Now, this game, one of the core mechanics of the game is it's set up kind of like Friday the 13th for the NES. All the reporters they can die, and then you move on. Like you get another reporter. So like
Okay.
in the manual here, it shows all the reporters: Ann Anderson, Pamela Martell, Carly Reese, Nina Volkov, Paula Orton, Justine Rhodes. Now, if these names sound very familiar to you, there's a good reason for that. Because Japan and Suda51, I would imagine, who, by the way, this is a Suda51. He wasn't like the main.
But he was
head
involved.
selector or whatever, but he was involved. Yes, he was heavily involved in this.
I
So
see.
that's a good, that'll give you kind of an indication. But if those names sound familiar, because they are all associated with professional wrestling names. Justine Rhodes, Dusty Rhodes. Pamela Martell, Rick the Model Martell, and so on and so forth. Every single person in this game that has a proper name is a relation to a professional wrestler. Just a little tidbit of information. It has nothing to do with the game. But all those reporters that I mentioned.
I love that. I think that's great.
Yeah. No, it's like, why do these names sound familiar? And then I was like, I don't remember this one. Like, yep, that's professional wrestling. They pointed me to it. I was like, oh shit. Every single one. Every single proper name. That's not a place like Chicago or whatever. Anyways, so it plays like Friday the 13th for the NES. Reporter dies, you get a new reporter. You get Pamela. If Pamela dies, you get Carly. Carly dies, you get the next one, the next one, next one. So I think did I say there were 6 of them?
Yeah, something like that.
I think there were 6.
Is that game over
Yes.
if they all die?
6 total. I don't know. I didn't get I actually
Here's Zeke Ghost
Actually,
spoiling the
not-
game again.
well yeah. Spoiling a game that is 18 years old. I'm sorry. I apologize. If you are ever going to play it, good luck finding it. But legally, good luck finding it legally. It is either exceedingly easy to avoid death, or it's so stupid the thing you have to do, and you have to do quickly, that they die instantly. Like there's like certain situations. It's not like, okay, put it to you this way. The first like death that I had in the game, a spider was on the ceiling and fell on the reporter, and she died. And
Hey, look, that makes a lot of sense to me. I don't see the
I was gonna
disconnect.
say, as one does, if
Yeah.
a spider falls
Yeah.
on them.
Like I'd
Yes.
be dead as
Well,
well.
and they give you the opportunity to save her because you get one interaction move outside of like the basic like open this, do this, look at this kind of thing. It's all one button except for one move, a shove. They give you a shove to do, and you have to be next to her when she's
Can you
underneath
shove
the
the
spider
spider?
at the exact moment and shove her out of the way
Oh,
of
you
the spider.
shove her. Okay, great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or alternatively, if you see the spider with your camera and zoom in on it, it'll say like, "Oh my god, a huge disgusting spider." And then the spider crawls away because it does its camera.
Yeah,
It doesn't
that's
like to be on
fucked up,
camera.
man.
So that's how you can
dude,
save her.
some spiders
However,
are very self-conscious, and
Yeah,
frankly,
that's
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 just normal. If
like
someone said that to me, I'd walk away too.
I hate spiders, but you don't have to be a dick to it. Like that's just
Right?
messed up.
Exactly.
Think of the
Exactly.
I was
spiders.
gonna have it sign a release form to be
Jeez.
on the news, the Waka TV News,
Yeah.
or excuse me, Zaka TV News, ZAKA. But so that was my one and only death of a reporter. I actually went back and reloaded, and there it is. Oh, you see it?
Wow, great time. Holy shit, I'd die from that spider too. Look at that thing. It's big as fuck. But it didn't
And look
even
at my
it was
face.
just floating above her and then she died.
That's because spiders that big don't actually need to get near you. They can just use their spider
telepathy?
beams, and it's
Oh.
spider beams. But
Okay,
that's
sure,
that's
sure, yeah,
common
yeah.
common knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you go back like 15 seconds or 10 seconds or whatever? Because I want you to look at my face when this happened. Because my face is one of confusion, kind of a little bit of disgust, and like the face you make when you like, that's fucking bullshit.
Yeah,
That face.
I get it.
So that can happen, or they can be in quote unquote peril from the infected that are in the city. And why I say quote unquote, it's because I actually waited for
Just slamming it. Move and move.
Yep, I'm trying, and it's not working. It didn't work. I wasn't pushing her hard enough, and there's my face. There it is, right there.
Yep.
But,
I get that face.
yeah.
I relate to that face.
But the other thing is, the other way they can die is if like they get killed by one of the infected or like a thing. You have to try to let them die. It takes so goddamn long.
To like a
The enemies
zombie?
are so goddamn slow. Like a zombie, a worm, like sometimes they spit up these fucking slug worm crawfish looking things. And they like, they sit there and scream like, remember that scene when the steamroller was coming at the guy?
And Austin Powers.
Yes, Austin Powers. They're coming. And you're like, shoot that. Oh, that's what. I'm sorry. There's so many things to say about this.
I was gonna say it just keeps getting better.
Reporters,
Oh,
little
man.
did I know, and I'm probably sure this is this is true in real life. Reporters can't do a single thing unless the cameraman tells them to do it.
Well, that's correct.
Probably,
Well, that's normal.
probably sure
That's
real.
real life.
Yeah.
So they'll stand at a door until you point your camera at the door and tell them to open it, and they'll go, "Oh, okay, we'll open it now." They will not shoot infected, alien, awful, disgusting things coming at them unless you tell them, "Shoot that thing." Then they will shoot at it.
Well, that's just good gun safety.
That's true. Very
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like they come so slowly that you have to try to die to these things. So, that being said, one of the other core mechanics of the game is the points system. Now, you see at the top of your screen there, it says there's a meter with an E on the left and an S on the right.
Uh-huh.
The S stands for suspenseful moments. Like, if you like that book, zooming in on that book gave me a clue as to what's going on. And then you get this noise like, blah, blah, and you see like the little like bar like move to the right a little bit. Now the E on the left, Can you guess what the E stands for?
So S is suspense.
Suspense, yeah.
Yep.
I'm gonna
Boredom.
wait. What did you say?
It's like boredom with an E.
Oh,
Boredom.
boredom. I'm gonna go with evil,
Erotic.
erotic.
What?
Really?
I'm sorry. What?
Yes. There is suspenseful and erotic points that
This
you can
really
get.
is like a 2002 game.
And if you know, like, it makes sense because
Go on.
erotic is the opposite of suspense. I mean,
No,
that
they're
makes sense,
usually
right?
hand in hand. What?
No, we're moving on. I'm telling you a fact that you have
Oh.
to accept, and we'll
Okay.
move past it. Erotic is the opposite of suspense.
Well, I mean, if
Fact.
you think about the term "scared to fuck," like if you're scared of something,
Is that a term?
yeah,
No.
yeah.
Okay.
I think that's
No,
down. to.
Again, they're very close to one another. You really,
trying to make sense of any of this is just a futile effort. So what? Okay, you can either do suspenseful stuff like
okay.
take a shot of a dead body, take a shot of a book that like kind of says like, oh, this is a virus. You know, clues that like lead to like what the story is, what who's behind it all, and blah 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 blah. Or you can film the reporter as she's going up the stairs by crouching and looking, you know, that way. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Stuff
All
like
right.
that. No nudity, by the way. There's no nudity whatsoever in the game. I'll just let you know that right now. Kind of disappointed about that, but there's zero
Zeke's
nudity.
like,
No
ha
nipples.
ha! I tried. None.
I think there might be a butt.
Okay. All right.
Can't remember if there was a butt shot or not. Or like butt. You see a butt cheek, but I'm not sure if you see the butt crack or not. I can't remember. But you find porno mags, and it gives you erotic points, like just laying around. Like, ooh, who would want these? Or no. Oh, that's right. The suspenseful points are like, and if you get an erotic point, it goes.
So stupid.
Sound effects to boot.
Great.
And why are those meters there? Well, because there's 4 different endings to the game.
4 different
there's the-
endings.
There's the suspenseful ending. There's the erotic ending. There's the immoral and the moral ending. Now, on that meter, it's hard, you can't see it right now, but if I make an immoral choice, i.e., letting someone die when I could have helped them, choosing to film it rather than step in and help, there underneath the bar, there's the immoral bar. And it has like, it's like red and yellow and has like a lightning bolt like through it or whatever. It will reveal itself underneath. And the more immoral choices you make, it counts towards the ending. There's a scoring system at the end of at the end of each chapter. And it shows you all the erotic points you did, all the suspenseful points you did, all the immorality you did. And I will say this. I was trying to do immoral and erotic things, and I still got the moral ending. You have to try so hard to get either one of those that, oh, this is how I avoided the spider the next time through.
Yes, you
I
scared it.
looked at it and was like, I don't want to be a camera. Fuck this, I'm out of here.
Terrifying. Absolutely.
You didn't get my permission to film me.
He's out.
But I did actually watch.
You'll be
all
hearing
of
from his spider lawyer.
I watched all the endings, and it's barely like it's like a scene at the end of the game that changes, and that's about it for doing all the stuff. Immoral, moral, erotic, or suspenseful.
Oh.
Like a 30-second scene at the end of the game that changes.
Oh, that's where Elden Ring got its.
Apparently, yeah, right. But the real star of the show is the dialogue. And I'm sure some of it has to do with the translation, the actors, the voice actors they hired for English. And this is one of those games where I would tell you specifically, you must play it in the English language.
Okay.
Because it is like, say I'm standing this close to you, JP,
I would never let you get that close.
I
But yeah,
walked into a room. I
theoretically,
walked into a room and
yes, yeah.
yes, the cameraman was talking to the reporter, or excuse me, the sound guy who follows you everywhere. The sound guy was talking to the reporter. He goes, "Hey, yes, I got idea!" Like right next to her, and then he resumes normal volume.
I love it. It's great.
There's some of that. There's some like, oh my god, the dead guy. That thing is terrifying. Completely wrong emotions.
Okay, little Bill Murray.
Yeah.
Little Bill
Yeah.
Murray. Yeah.
Oh god, it's just chock full. I every line is a treat.
See,
I haven't laughed
that's
at a game.
exciting because going back to Stranger in Paradise, there's only like 4 or 5 lines that are that good in the entire game. This sounds like every line is a treat. It's a delight.
Every single one.
Yeah.
Every single one. Bad translations, like misread emotions, volume control changes. Oh fuck, dude. I can't even explain it. Like I usually don't like self-promote myself, but a lot, but watch a little bit of this VOD. Like watch like 20 minutes of me getting into the game.
Yeah.
And if you're not hooked by then, it's not the thing for you. But if you are, like, you'll be in for the whole fucking ride because it's a fucking ride.
How long was the ride?
It was one stream. I think I did it.
Oh,
I knocked
okay.
it out in 8 hours or something like that.
Not bad.
Wait, no. Hold on. Did I start it and then restart it?
I don't know.
I did 2 streams. I must have done 2 streams. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yes. I ended a little bit early one day because I was on the end of a chapter, and I wanted to leave enough of the game so I could have at least a half a stream, if not more, the next day. So yeah, it did take me 2 streams, but then again, there was a lot of me going, I want to go back and see that again. Because it's just, mwah.
Sure.
Yeah. Anyway, Michigan Report from Hell. It's a one of a kind.
Okay.
It's one of those one of a kind games that you don't forget, just because it's like Plan 9 from Outer Space. The game, it's like that bad good.
Yeah. There you go.
Anyway, I've talked for like 20 minutes.
You're playing. This was the emulated version, right? This is on. That's how people.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, and yeah, I'm glad I did because playing the saving system, it's not awful, but it's very time consuming. They only let you save in between chapters, and the emulation let me do save states, which ended up being kind of important, quality of life wise, because that's, if you want to do something again, see something again, you fucked up something that you didn't want to fuck up, whatever, you can reload the save, but it's like half an hour, of time waste. So it was nice to have that save state available to me, especially in a game that's like, it's not difficult at all. So like, you're not like save scumming anything. You just want to get all the lines, and I'm glad I did.
Sounds like a nightmare. A fun one though. A fun one.
Oh yeah.
Let's I guess. Yeah, there you go. Let's spend the last bit of the show talking a little bit about Wonderlands. We'll watch your VOD here. You're still playing the game. How you enjoying the old Wonderlands?
I am loving it.
Just short and simple.
I am loving it. Like I really enjoyed Borderlands 1. I really enjoyed Borderlands 2, Borderlands 3. And Tiny Tina's is definitely one that I think is, I was not a fan of Borderlands 3. I felt like the thing that had me so worried about Borderlands 3 is that not only did I feel like the characters were a big step back in 3, like I went in, I'm a pretty self-deprecating guy. Like stand-up comedy is a lot of like where I think a lot of streamers get kind of their jive from. And when I went into Borderlands 3 and I heard that their main characters were going to be basically like parodies of streamers and YouTubers, I was like, oh, okay, cool. I like Borderlands, and this is going to be about the profession I'm in. So I'm expecting some clever, like hard hitting, like stuff that's going to make me laugh. Like this is going to be funny. I can't wait to see it. And what I got from Borderlands 3 was not only an incredibly lackluster story, but the characters and stuff were just so basic, and like all of the normal things that everyone thinks about YouTubers and streamers was just like that's all they were. There was no depth, there was no cleverness, there was no
Yeah.
like
It's very
funny
topical
approach. Not it was none of it really
or
landed
surface
with
level.
me at all. I went in hoping to be like insult comic level insulted. Like, oh my god, this is hilarious. Like that's what I went in hoping from 3. And instead I had a hard time finishing it. I definitely didn't go back and do any of the side stuff because like the side stuff didn't really land either. So when I heard about this, I was kind of excited, and because I like Borderlands and I did like the gameplay of 3. But I was also worried because I was like, man, if they're gonna keep going this kind of like super try hard, not very funny attitude, like I don't even know if I'm gonna finish the main story. Like that's what I went at.
Oh, you just described me in a nutshell, and I don't like it.
For what?
It's
Borderlands?
it's
Super
very
try
rough.
hard, funny, not funny.
Yeah. Just like Borderlands 3, you are a tough watch. So it when it
You set him up for it. That's on
I
you.
you did. I had
That's
to
on
knock
you.
that down. So anyway, so I started Tiny Tina's, and right off the bat, I could tell like this setting was more interesting and enjoyable. They had more freedom to do more things they hadn't done before. Immediately, the cast of Wonderlands grabbed me more. I love Andy Samberg. Wanda Sykes was doing great. Freaking, I always forget his name,
Will Arnett.
but Will Arnett
He's great.
killed it immediately as the big bad. I love Ashley Birch, especially coming off Horizon. Like the range that this woman has is some of the best in the gaming industry. Mark my words. Like, sure, Matt
I
Mercer's
agree.
great, but he always plays like nearly the same guy. Let's be real. Like it.
Guys,
Hey,
hold
there's a
on,
reason.
hold on.
There's a reason you could instantly go.
Zeke, we
Oh,
gotta
it's Matt
get.
Mercer.
Let me.
Okay,
Okay,
no.
hold on.
I don't
You
know.
know I'm
I'm here
kidding.
for the Matt
This is,
Mercer bash. I'm
let me-
in.
let me
I'm all
say-
in.
let me-
It's just the co-show from here on.
Let's start over. Let's start over. Matt Mercer has not yet found his Tiny Tina. Matt, if I'm sure Matt Mercer has the ability to do it, but I have not yet seen something that is to the level of like Tiny Tina to Aloy. Coming right off Aloy, definitely like the character difference is amazing. To be fair, actually, to be fair to Matt, he did have one character recently that I remember being like someone had to tell me it was him. I'm trying to remember what role that was in.
I
To his
don't-
credit, I remember there was one role he did recently where I was like, oh shit, that's Matt Mercer. Like it took me a second.
I will.
Now I'm trying to think what that role was.
I will also
That'll
come
probably
out
help
and
me
say
out here.
I don't think.
Oh, he did do a great job as Majima. Yes.
I don't think Mercer's
point.
had like a role. When you think of
The thing
Ashley
here-
Birch, you think of Aloy and you think of Tiny Tina. I don't know if Mercer has that type of like connection with a singular character.
I think the big thing with Mercer is that
Overwatch.
his voice is very
maybe.
iconic,
Might be
and when you
McCree,
hear it,
maybe.
you instantly know it's his. Where with Tiny Tina and Aloy, just hearing those two voices, there's so little where you would go, "Oh yeah, that's obviously Aloy. Oh yeah, it's obviously Tiny Tina." Like it's very impressive.
I agree
Anyway,
with
that being said, Ashley Birch is amazing.
Yes.
Andy Samberg is awesome. Wanda Sykes is great. And of course the big bad Will Arnett is doing fantastic too. Not only that, but all of the side characters have great voice acting. All of the NPCs you fight have great voice acting. I picked a main character. He's incredible. Like it's all just great. It's all just great.
And
And that goes.
most
Go ahead.
I want to interject. Most of the side characters are Ashley Birch DMing as a side character because she's the
A
DM
lot of
of
times.
the world, and so
Yep.
you run into a goblin and it's her doing like a funny goblin voice, and that's like an entire side quest that's
Yeah.
like 45 minutes long to
But
speak to her
the big-
range.
The big thing about Wonderlands is that this game is just a lot of fun. It's Borderlands. It's 80% Borderlands, like we all expect. But at the same time, like the Overland is cool and a great addition. The spellcasting stuff is a lot of fun. You have now character creation, which is new. 6 different classes to pick from. You can multi-class. Like I feel like Tiny Tina's Wonderland, in a lot of ways, is the Borderlands 3 we never got. Where Borderlands 3 felt more like they were just trying to take 2 and remake it. I feel like Tiny Tina's Wonderland is like them actually pushing what they do further. Like in terms of like adding on meaningful new mechanics and like actually having really funny dialogue. It's actually been pretty well written. There's been multiple times through this story and side questing, also in side questing, where my jaw has dropped from something that has happened. Like it's just a it's such on a higher quality level from 3. I'm having so much of a better time playing it
Yeah.
that it makes me actually like it's kind of like Borderlands is back. Like this is great. Like this is really cool. I'm actually super enjoying this. I spent just 2.5 hours of my stream today, and I had to force myself to stop doing it, doing side quests and just enjoying all of them. There's an entire giant level
There's zones
that
that
you
are
don't
just
even need
side
to go
quests.
to.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's
yeah,
just
yeah.
a giant side quest area. So yeah, it's overall, I'm really enjoying my time. I'm 100% planning on finishing the main story. I will probably I'm doing more side questing tonight for my cozy stream. I will probably I don't know if I'm going to do every side quest, but I'm certainly
There
enjoying it for
seemed like
now.
a lot
And
from what I saw. I
this is
stopped
one
around level
big
20.
thing. Yeah. This is one big thing going back to what we were talking about with Ghostwire. I did a few side quests in Ghostwire and immediately was like, I kind of get where they're going with this. I don't really need to do more of this. Like it's not that great. I kind of entered the side quests in Tiny Tina going, okay, let's see if these are going to be one-liners, not very interesting, not a lot of flavor or personality. And every side quest I've done so far has been entertaining with its own characters, like its own crazy events happening. It's like instead of them just being like little fetch quests and stuff like that, they really do feel like actual self-contained little stories.
Mhm.
Like from the Murphs. I don't know if you did that side quest. To the dueling metal bands, where they're trying to summon demons to, trying to break like there are so many cool and to the polka dotted freaking goblin poet that a
Yep.
woman ends up dating. Like just so much crazy stuff happens that has been happening. Tie that into the fact that like actual big crazy shit happens in the main story.
Yep.
Like one thing I'm not going to spoil involves on a dock, and I seriously sat there for like a solid 10 seconds, just like, what in the absolute shit just happened? That was amazing. Um,
Same.
yeah,
That's good.
it's really really, and I'm thoroughly enjoying my time.
100%
So that's my
cannot
thoughts on this game.
cannot disagree with the story. I stopped playing. I hate the guns in this game. I
I'm a
don't
spellcaster.
maybe that's why, because I was playing Berserker or whatever they call it, which is I guess like a melee focused
The
class.
Berserker,
Yes, the
yeah, the
Berserker.
frostbite.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I get it. That's a great one.
I just I I have a hard time. I've been trying to mentally decipher if I've always hated Borderlands gunplay or I just think this was like the limit for me to enjoy Borderlands gunplay. I I couldn't find a gun I liked. And I put like 14, 15 hours into the game and I was just like, I can't. They all suck. I hate all these guns.
I
That's
am
always
playing
been
a
my biggest
spellcaster.
complaint.
Yeah.
I am playing a spellcaster focused on spells, and my main ability is to change my alt ability to another spell slot. So like like literally my gun is there, and now that I have my top mage ability, it makes it so every time I crit, there's a 15% chance to refresh both of my spells. So I'm
Oh,
essentially
okay.
just like chucking meteors and ice beams and magic missiles and shit. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Also, real quick, because I want to address this, because just in case we don't get to it, would you recommend this to people who didn't like Borderlands? It looks just like a bad shooter with a good rapper. No,
It's Borderlands.
I would absolutely not recommend this to somebody who didn't like Borderlands. It is Borderlands.
Yeah.
Everything we're saying is with the caveat and on top of it's Borderlands. So yeah, no, this is not it's very similar to people who would told me like if I didn't like Dark Souls mechanically, would I like Elden Ring? No. It's Dark Souls in an open world with like a whole bunch of extra cool flavor stuff on top of it. But if you didn't like Dark Souls because it was Dark Souls, if you didn't like running around in third person dodging and avoiding big bosses, you're not gonna like Elden Ring. It's not like
Yeah.
it's the same thing at the core.
I agree.
So yeah, so it's that kind of thing. And just to be clear in the context of everything we're saying, this is a fantastic Borderlands. I'm really enjoying it, but it's still Borderlands. There
So
you go.
my one biggest complaint was always with Borderlands was there's so much loot and it's just
It's all trash.
mostly garbage, mostly
Yeah.
trash. And it's just like
A
I
looter,
hate it.
shooter,
Like just like
Schluter.
god damn, I felt like going through a dump. Like going through a
Yeah.
fucking dumpster and just being like,
Yep.
ugh,
Well,
no,
yeah.
no, hey, wait a minute. That's good. You know?
I was getting annoyed at how many times I had to go and sell. Even with like I upgraded the inventory limit to like 48 slots or something. I think it's 36 by default
That's
or
about
something.
where I am. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was just like, God, I don't like, and they were mostly purples, and I would just pick up the gun and shoot it. It just, are you playing on? It might have been because I was playing on intense, and that
I'm
does make
playing on
everything okay. Because I was like watching you do damage, and you were just doing more damage than
There,
I
yeah.
was.
The thing is there's certain types of
There's
guns
there's
that are just
elemental.
way far and beyond above others. There are pistols that have unlimited ammo.
Uh huh.
There are also pistols that fire incredibly fast. They're inaccurate, but they have high damage.
I think I
There's some
maybe
special
picked one of those up.
named guns. Like there are certain weapons that are just completely lackluster, and there are other weapons that will like kill enemies in seconds.
Yeah,
It's like I will say that the balance between the guns in this game seems way off. I prefer assault rifle style weapons. I have not yet found a single assault style weapon that
I
really suits my fancy.
I found one, and it was like okay.
Yeah.
Like,
I
it
have
was
not
like
yet found one that I like. The whole concept of the LMG, the spin up,
yeah,
and like it'll start really slow, and then when it's fast, it does high damage. It doesn't do high damage when it spins up.
yep.
Like I can still absolutely flatten everything 10 times faster with a pistol than I can like one of those weapons. So I will say, especially now that you've like mentioned it, this game could absolutely do with a balance patch to not necessarily make some guns weaker, but there's some guns that should just be a lot stronger. Some gun types that should be a lot stronger.
I was meant. Chat brought this up when I was playing. When Borderlands 3 came out on Drop Frames, I think Zeke might have actually played as well, and we all mentioned at some point one or the other that you were given too many like legendary
Legendaries.
guns in that game, and I felt like with this they dialed it back, but they went too far the opposite direction.
So this is interesting. Here's how this works. So, and I did a sponsored thing with this with an awesome streamer named is Tasachka, and she's actually one of the 2K creators. She's like she interviews her devs and is on their channel and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And she talked with one of the devs about this. And what is not necessarily the most popular or not the not most well known mechanic, every time you find a dice, it
Uh-huh.
increases your chance of getting legendaries. So if you want to get high chances of legendaries, you methodically go through every level and find all the dice and
It's like
stuff.
15 to
But
20 each
there's a
level.
lot of players who felt that there were way too many legendaries in 3, and they specifically put those dice in so you can avoid that if you don't want. So they
Got it.
basically
Okay.
tried to give the player a little bit more control over how many legendaries you want. In my I don't know how many hours I played now. In my probably 15, 20 hours, I've gotten 2 legendaries and one I couldn't use.
And they were both weapons?
So one was a ring and one was armor. I've
Okay.
already I
Yeah.
the ring was melee oriented. I had no use for it, and the armor I actually replaced earlier today. I think.
Yeah, I got an armor
So yeah,
piece from like a
it is not a
skeleton
lot.
key chest, and that was it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Now,
I think they really want those fountain of legendaries because there is an end game. I haven't got to it yet. It's called like Chaos Core or something.
Chaos dungeons
Um,
or something like that. Yeah.
yeah, it's chaos something. Chaos. I know, right? That's word ever. But I am planning on getting to it and trying it to see how it is. I don't know if I'll like go really deep into it, but I at least want to try it. Supposedly, obviously, just like any end game Borderlands thing, that's when things really start amping up and the
Yeah.
farming really starts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about the spellcast thing. Now we all know how the guns, like the loots of the gun system works in Borderlands. Is it the same with spells or like
It is
Kinda.
very similar to spells. Spells can have modifiers. They can have many different things. You can get an ice bolt where you click once it casts. You can get an ice bolt where it has charges, where you can fire it 3 times and those charges come back. You can have an ice bolt that is hold and channeled to cast. You can have one where you hold it down and it does more. And then on top of that, you can have all sorts of modifiers with them, like guns. More AOE, less crit, more crit, higher damage. All spells can also have like big modifiers. So, like one of my favorite spells is called like Calamity, and it drops a meteor. Well, I found a calamity with an extinction modifier. So now instead of it dropping a meteor, a giant meteor forms and like slowly falls doing AoE damage and then cracks and explodes. First you get a spark spell that throws out a lightning or a little spark, and then that gets a modifier that makes it so it's an AoE lightning bolt when you point at the ground. So and then
so
on top of that, you have all sorts of other modifiers too.
a couple of different people in chat have said like spells replace the grenades in the game. Is that
Correct.
kind of
Sort of,
okay?
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's right.
Okay.
There's a
So
lot
they're
of like
they're an ancillary weapon that you can get upgrades or whatever to use more often.
yeah.
Yes.
It's
Or like me, you
essentially-
can make them basically your main DPS.
Yeah, if you go Spellmancer, you nonstop I mean, your spell
Spell shot.
caster. Yeah. Or,
So they don't
yeah.
run out, is
That's
what I'm
spell
saying.
caster.
You don't have to like replenish them.
No, they recharge. They're on
No,
so
there's no mana.
yeah,
There's
look
no
at the
mana of
bottom
any
right
kind.
hand corner of the screen. Those are your spell things.
Okay.
He'll use one eventually, then you'll see the timer
See,
come up.
the second the fight starts, I'll probably start using both of them as fast as I can.
Yeah.
What's cool is like at this point in the game, those are 2 long recast spells. But at the point I'm at now, I can like every time I crit, there's a 15% chance to refresh both of those. So it makes it so I can basically just like be chucking out spells like all the time, which has completely changed the game. It's become very, very. So those are the 2 meteors right there.
Yeah.
And then you can see
I
the
gotta
recast
say-
shows up in the bottom right.
I gotta say, I'm just this. I mean, it's Borderlands, so it's gotta resemble the other Borderlands games. I get that, but like, I'm kind of disappointed that they didn't like replace all of the modern, futuristic, post-apocalyptic looking guns with,
I mean,
shit like medieval shit. So like,
Well,
they're all like
I will say
crossbows,
they're-
or, like,
it's
a mini
jokes. It's
ricochet
jokes.
or-
Your sniper rifle is a crossbow.
yeah.
So it's
Oh,
like
is
there's little gotchas.
They
Yeah,
they like
there's-
fantasy
they've made-
themed them all.
Yeah.
In essence.
Yeah. Not
Okay,
all.
okay.
Some of them
Not-
are just
yeah,
guns.
That's true.
But most things have at least been touched in a fantasy manner.
Like-
Okay, that's fine then. That's all I wanted. I'm glad they did that then.
Yeah.
I just assumed that since you guys were talking about guns, that they were actual guns.
Yeah, like this, if you can
Which
see this
I know
gun,
some
you
of
can
them.
see the magic is going around it. Like the shotgun, for instance, fires like force things that go out, like big force waves.
Okay.
That's
That's
so
all. I
it's-
just
it's-
wanted
yeah.
to reskin so it looks fantasy-ish.
Game's very fantasy.
Hey, So at one point in the game, slight spoiler, but just to give you an idea, at one point in the game, a character she's like, "Here, take this C4," and Andy Samberg, one of the characters, is like, "What? Like that's not. You don't have C4 in this world. That's ridiculous." And Tiny Tina is like, hold on a second," and then the character goes, "Take this Fantasy 4," and it's just like, okay.
The
So
jokes
there's a
are
lot of
good.
stealth. Yeah, the jokes are in some cases really good.
I like-
There's a lot of really fun banter, and
Yeah.
it's
It's very funny.
it's very funny. It's very.
No, I was
funny.
looking forward to this game. I had it on my schedule, but I wasn't done with Michigan Report from Hell, and we all know how I feel about that. I couldn't put it down.
Yeah.
So this is definitely on my docket, like of games that I need to play eventually.
They hit all the right like tropes of D&D from the very outset of the game. Like they you can tell that this comes from, in my opinion, people that played a lot of D&D and they understand
They
that world
are-
a lot.
Yes, with Borderlands 3, you can tell that they were outside looking in, trying to make fun of it, and
Yeah.
it just didn't really land. Where in this game, it's very much more like they are fully comfortable with the subject matter and they are making actually funny jokes about it. That's the big difference. Like all the jokes in this game, you feel like you're in on the joke.
Yeah, I mean,
Which weirdly enough, you would have thought that we would have felt that way with 3, but it was so kind of awkward. They never really landed. Where
Yeah.
in this, you constantly feeling like you're in on the joke. There's an entire. I'm gonna spoil one slight. This game is full of references,
do it.
top to bottom, full of references. And I got on a viewer for doing this earlier today, but I'm not going to spoil when it is. But I am going to spoil this one reference. There's an entire section of the game that is overtly and entirely a reference to the Monkey Island franchise.
Oh, nice.
And like
Oh,
I
I
got
never
to there
found that
and
area.
realized what was going on and was just like, this is incredible. Like
Huh.
and there's like tons of good references. Like it was amazing. It was really, really good. And like yeah, I loved it. Absolutely.
I did not find that. Was that like, well, never mind, I can't ask. You already said you were
It's
going
main
to
quest. It's main quest.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
looking
So,
forward to the 3-headed monkey boss.
There are bosses. We didn't mention it. Bosses in the game.
Oh yeah.
I the more that I watch your gameplay, I don't know if it was my class, but you just shooting a mob. I don't know if you're using like the right
Like
elemental.
they're right there.
'Cause
This is one of the guns that I'm talking about. It's high damage and high firing.
is it a
And then
frost
if
weapon?
you get a nope, it's a pistol. It's a regular little pistol.
But
And then my
does it do
spells do a
frost
ton of damage on
damage?
top of that. I
Because like
don't
there are
know.
elemental like skeletons
I don't
take
think
more
so, 'cause these
damage
are
from
skeletons.
frost.
I'm not
okay.
sure to be honest.
Yeah.
I think this is a dual pistol. It's a dual firing pistol, and then if you get a critical, which already does a lot of damage, it then ricochets to a nearby person too.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's like in groups of mobs, you're just ripping through them.
Yeah, I went Berserker because they have Cyclone. But then all it did was just stand next to a mob and Cyclone, and then eventually the mob would die right as Cyclone wore out, and it was just kind of like I just sat there, and this is not very fun. I'm a little
Funny enough,
bored.
the ability that came with Spell Shot that I could have used besides this is a polymorph. And
Yeah,
that
I saw
turned them
that.
into a little flying sheep, and then you could shoot it to recast your spells. I stopped using it for the exact same reason you did, because like there's some skills that like stop gameplay, and there's other skills that just keep the pace up. Very similar to Path of Exile. Where it's
Yeah.
like some builds you kind of have to park to do your stuff, and other skills you just keep moving.
Yeah.
And I definitely found a stride with the dual cast mage, and I have been loving it.
It
Loving
definitely, the more I'm hearing you talk about it, it seems like it was a wrong class. Like, is anyone in chat playing Berserker or whatever? Is it good? Like, I just felt like I never did damage. I was
If
bored.
the only thing holding you back is your class, then if you progress the game a little bit more, you can get a subclass.
Oh, I'm multi-class.
You get a second
yeah,
class.
Yeah, I'm multi-class.
You can respec at any point. So
Oh, you can change your main class?
Just go spec into your subclass. And later in the game, you can even change your subclass. So you can basically, like, you are kind of stuck with Berserker for now. But you could like pick a subclass that you want to main. So you can pick Spell Shot as your main, and then you can respec so most of your points are into there. And then you can just, off point some into Berserker for passive stuff that benefits your main. So, like there's all sorts of stuff.
I'm very confused.
You cannot change your main class. You can only
I would
change
like
your subclass.
I would like for this person, HXC Max, who says JP's so out of sync with this game. What? Please explain how I'm so out of sync with this game.
Well, it's not that I wouldn't say
You
you're
just
out of
don't get
sync.
it, man.
I would say
I'll
this
wait.
game. No, I think what he means is that there's tons of ways to play this game, and you picked a way to play it with, of course, not knowing the other options. That is definitely not optimal. Like, it doesn't sound like this. You're getting from the game what you want to get with the way that you picked, which is understandable. I probably feel the same way you did if I was having issues with that.
Like when I picked Arcane build in Bloodborne, never played it before. That was.
There you go.
See, but
that up.
the
It's still
difference
stinging about
the difference is you didn't know that Arcane was not good. I picked the class
Oh.
thinking it was just going to be good. And
Oh,
it was
absolutely.
shit. There's a difference there. There's disconnect.
I specifically picked Spellcaster because I was like, this is going to take advantage of the game's new mechanics. I want to dive into the new mechanics this game has to offer, and I was hopeful that it would be a very strong class, and sure enough, it has become an incredibly strong class. I actually just recently got a spell, one of my two spells, that hits for 992 times 2 at my level, and I can cast it every 10 seconds, and that basically one-shots most mobs. So it's like, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Now let me ask: is there like a rogue class? Like, is there sneaking?
Yeah, there's
backstabbing?
Stabbomancer.
Yeah, it has stealth. You can go straight up stealth.
See, that's the stuff of Borderlands I like. Like the names, they call it a Stabbomancer. That's fucking great.
All
I
the
think I
names
might
are
try
great.
a Stabbomancer.
Do it, man. Hell yeah, give
Dude,
it a try.
holy shit. I got to close their chat. They're tilting me to oblivion.
Getting heated.
God damn.
With my chat?
Yeah, I can't.
I've been watching.
Do
It hasn't
not
been
come
too
over
bad.
to my stream, Coach Chat. Please stay the fuck away. Oh my god. Whew, the tilt is too much.
Dude, I've been fighting with both of your chats all day. It's been great.
I just can't, man. My blood
Okay.
pressure, my stress.
I
insane.
was reading my chat. I didn't see anything too bad.
They just invalidate anything I say. It's insane.
I did see someone fling a. I saw someone fling a banana
Insanity.
at you.
Yeah.
That's.
Anyways, show's over.
Thing.
I'm done. You guys are laughing,
Dude,
but I'm
this is-
seriously like freaking the fuck out mentally. So I just want to end the show.
Relish this moment. It's rare when JP actually gets fucking real like salty on the drop frames. It's a moment.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
I like seeing the real emotion, man.
I'm glad you're enjoying my suffering. I hope you enjoy that.
That's my
Do some
whole,
shout outs.
dude. That's my whole channel. What's up, everybody? My name is Ezekiel the Third. You can find me @Ezekiel_I on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, all the things. I will be. Oh, excuse me. Thank you to JP and Co for being my co-host of this show every week. I will be off tomorrow because Mondays I take off, and then Tuesday we've got a lot of 100-month sub appreciation game streams. If you didn't know, anybody who gets 100 months of subbing in my channel, you get one stream to pick your game, whatever game you want. And tomorrow we're going to be playing Electronic Super Joy, which is an older game from 2013, but I loved it when I played it the first time, and we're gonna play it again. And then on Wednesday, we're gonna be finishing up that iPad game Ghost Trick to see how the story ends. Then more Chivalry 2, and then on Thursday it's Bloodborne. Oddly enough, Faustus, 100-month sub, that's his choice for the game stream. So we got a lot of fun shit coming up. Hope to see you on my channel, 10 a.m. Pacific, every day except Monday. Thanks for watching.
Chat. I am disappointed. Anyway, I'm Co. Hi. I'm going to be playing more Tiny Tina's tonight. Probably more Tiny Tina's tomorrow. We also have a bunch of games coming up. We're going to be playing Weird West very soon. I definitely want to finish Ghostwire. Probably more Elden Ring at some point. We've got a bunch of stuff. However, it's too bad we ran out of time today. We'll have to talk about it next week. If JP doesn't murder me by then. But I would definitely like to talk about what's coming up next, because there's like nothing coming out for 2 months at all. So I am very interested to see what everyone's going to be doing, because it is. We were talking about it today in the channel, and it's getting a little barren. So we'll have to figure out what we're going to do and see how we're going to do that and figure all that out.
I could loan you
Anyway,
my copy of Mission Report from Hell.
We might have to talk. We might have to talk. Anyway, thank you as always all for watching. Really appreciate it, and see you next week. If I don't see you in the channel before then.
That's it. Thank you guys. Keep the good vibes going. We're out. Bye-bye.